guys, welcome back to my vegan kitchen. It's summertime and nobody likes to cook, but this is something nobody likes to cook in the heat is what I'm saying. This is a really nice dish to make. It makes you feel a little bit special because it's kind of like restaurant-y, but it's really easy to put together. Full disclosure, I've already got my rice cooker going with some white basmati rice in there. Very excited. This recipe, super simple, very customizable.
What are you making?
I'm making tofu stir fry with the star of the show, Bok Choy, baby.
Yes.
So if you don't like bok choy or you don't have bok choy, broccoli, double mushrooms, cabbage. We've done this with cabbage as well. We've done this with celery, all celery. Like I had a 3-pack of celery hearts from Sam's Club. Throw them in there. I love celery. Like I said, onions. What else could you throw in there? Different types of mushrooms, cauliflower even. String beans would be really nice. This is my family's absolute favorite though. They love bok choy, and the great thing about bok choy is it stays crispy. So if you're having this for lunch the next day, the bok choy is still nice and crispy and crunchy. And I love that about the bok choy. You bite in and you get that burst of water, and it's just so refreshing and crunchy. You could also throw in some water chestnuts, but I don't usually do that because they come in a can, and I just want to use like fresh produce for the most part. So this is kind of like a 2-part recipe. The first thing that we're going to do is the tofu part. So I'm cooking for a lot of people. We're 4 big adults, and we eat a lot of food.
Big adult Simbas.
Yeah, we eat a lot of food. So we have dinner, we have lunch the next day. We might have people stopping by for dinner tonight. So I want a lot of food because I still want to have leftovers. So I'm doing 2 big packages of tofu. If you want to make half the recipe, great. You could even make a quarter of the recipe. Just, you know, exponentially cut down the ingredients. But the first thing we're doing is the tofu, and I really like to buy this super firm tofu because this is so firm that you don't really have to press it. And we're going to be frying it in the pan. Not really deep, you know, it's not like deep frying it. We're sauteing it in the pan. So it's going to evaporate a lot of the water. So you really don't, you cut out that step of having to like press it. So we're just going to cut this open. We should probably get our pan heating up too. We're going to turn that on in a second. Yes, it's got a little water in here. It's going to pee. There you go. Feel better now? Alright, so we're going to bust this out of its plastic. And you can see, you really don't have to press it because it's pretty firm. We're going to turn on our stove to just above medium, and that's pretty hot for the stove. We're coming back over here, and we're cutting this in slabs. A lot of people, when they do tofu stir fry, I feel like they make the mistake of cutting it into cubes and then putting it in the pan. Too much work. Would you rather have a bunch of toddlers or a bunch of big slabs? You know what I mean? You have, because when you go to turn it over, then you have to turn over each individual cube to get the crust on it. It's much more simple to put it in the pan like this, flip it over, and then once it comes out, cut it into your cubes. Right? It's a no-brainer. So I'm going to put a little oil in my pan, a little olive oil. Not much. That's probably about 1.5 tablespoons. And as soon as this gets hot, which it almost is, we're going to plop in our tofu. We're going to do this twice because we have 2 tofus. Whoa. A little floppy. Alright. Now, the only thing that I do to season this is I drizzle a little bit of soy sauce on the top of this, on one side only. So this is going to cook for about 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to cook it on the other side. Alright, we finished up all of our tofu. We're going to set that aside.
Looking gorgeous.
Thank you. let it cool, and then we're gonna, crisscross it into squares before we're ready to throw it in. So now we have a different pan because you could definitely use a frying pan, but we're making vats of food and I don't have a frying pan big enough for that. So this is the closest that I have to like even remotely being big enough. So we're going to put it on the same, a little bit above medium. We're going to put our oil in again. You can definitely stir fry with water if you wanted to, but I like to have a little oil in there. We're going to start off with our onions. I had one big Vidalia onion that I just rough cut. You don't really need to be that fancy with this because you kind of want it in the, like that. So just in half, and then and the white parts of the scallion, because these take longer to cook. These are going to be the last thing with the tofu that goes in because they're going to wilt down to nothing if you put them in right now. So we're going to get our onions in here. We're going to give them about 3 to 5 minutes, and then we're going to follow up with our sliced mushrooms. Alright, so you can see that I washed my bok choy very well. Be careful, it's got a lot of dirt usually around the bottom of the stalk of it. I cut it up separately. I did the white ends in here because they're very tough, and then we have basically what's left of it, the leaves at the top over here, because we're going to add them at different times. So the mushrooms have been cooking for about 3 to 4 minutes. We're going to start adding in the bok choy bottoms, I guess you could say. They will wilt a little bit.
But they're still going to be crunchy.
It's still going to be crunchy, but I'm saying like that looks like a lot to fit in the pan, and it is, but it will wilt a little bit, so don't worry so much. Same thing with the tops of the bok choy. That looks like an awful lot of tops, but that will wilt down like spinach does. So again, we're just going to let the bottoms cook for, 3-4 minutes, and then we'll be ready to add the next ingredients. Alright, so you can see that the mushrooms and the bok choy have given off a lot of water. So now's a good time. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Now's a good time to start building your sauce. So I used to go through all the trouble of dissolving the cornstarch in the water and everything so that you don't get lumps. But I find that if I just sprinkle it on at this point, it's all going to work out okay. So I'm just going to add, I don't know, it's probably about 2 tablespoons maybe, and give it a good mix after I put the rest of the stuff in. So I got some granulated garlic, and probably about a tablespoon. You can also use fresh garlic, but I find that that is never bitter, and I don't have to go through all the work of like cleaning it and chopping it, and it's just so much easier. Also going to put in a shot of this beautiful roasted garlic rice vinegar. I like to measure with my spoon over here so I don't have to do measuring cleanings. So that's about 1.5 tablespoons. And then finally soy sauce. I'm going to do about 1/2 cup because this is a lot of food. You're going to see this pan's going to be full up to the brim. So I figure this spoon full is about 1/2 cup, give or take. So that's pretty close. Alright, so now we'll start stirring that up, and then we need to add our greens. Turn down the heat slightly because we don't want them to wilt too much. And then we're going to cut up our tofu and add that too. Alright, I just turned down the heat a little. Oh, I turned up the heat.
Whoa!
No wonder why. Alright, so these are definitely going to wilt down, but we have so many that we need to add them a little bit at a time. Otherwise, it's going to be a big mess. A lot of people always ask about cornstarch. Can I do this without the cornstarch? I don't have cornstarch. You don't need the cornstarch. The cornstarch's only purpose in this is to make the sauce thick. So if you don't want thick sauce, you don't need cornstarch. Alternatives to cornstarch, which I don't know why you wouldn't have cornstarch because it's super cheap at the supermarket and readily available at pretty much any supermarket, even like an Aldi or probably even like a bodega if you live in the city, or they have it. It's really cheap. But you could also use arrowroot. I mean, you could use flour if you were desperate, but I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to taste uncooked. Alright, so once we get all these greens in here and wilted, I'm basically going to turn it off almost and just mix in the tofu cubes. Alright guys, this is what it should look like before the tofu and the scallion tops go in. I had to add a little bit of water because my sauce was a little bit too thick. That's fine. Just, you know, quarter cup, half a cup, whatever you need to do, however you like it. It's up to you. So now we're going to add in all of this beautiful tofu that I cubed up.
We both already sampled it, and it is
delicious. Fantastic. So I'm just going to stir that in. It's still warm, by the way, which is nice. Our rice has 6 more minutes to go on it. And then we're going to also, you could also keep some of these for the top, like we should, right? For the thumbnail. You should keep a little of these for the top. And stir them in. You don't want to cook them because you want all that scallion flavor. Very bright, very fresh. And as soon as the rice is done, we're going to plate this up. Alright, there you have it. We got our rice in the middle. We got our goodness all around with some scallions on the top.
This looks amazing.
Yes, queen. Go
it's
for
also
it.
Super hot.
It is.
Do you even tofu? I do.
I do. Of course I do. I designed that shirt. That's our merch, guys.
Yeah. Check it out in the info box below if you're interested.
Yeah.
I don't know where that went. Okay, here we go. That tofu like that takes it to the next level.
It's thebomb.com.
I just love bok choy.
I know. It's our favorite. I mean, but like we said, you could try other stuff if you're not into bok choy.
This rice is very hot.
Yes, it is. It's also perfectly cooked. I highly recommend a rice cooker. It will change your life. Or just use the rice setting or whatever on the Instant Pot. So much easier.
It does really change your life.
For the better. Thought I'd clarify that.
Yes. Just making sure I don't have green in my teeth.
And good.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching today.
I hope you make this.
It is so delicious.
Simple. You will impress your family and friends. I don't know who wouldn't eat that. It's amazing.
The tofu. The tofu.
It's all about the tofu.
So, if you guys enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let us know if you make it. Send us a photo because we love seeing that.
Smash the subscribe button.
Yeah. If you're not already subscribed, why not?
It's free.
Yeah. And stay safe. Wear a mask. We'll see you guys next time. And until then, much love.